Camera number 22 of 365 cameras, and it's the Pentax Z1. Z1 requires a 2CR5 battery to power all its functions, so we place the battery in the base of the camera. It can only go in one way, so that's very useful. So turning our attention to some of the features of the camera, and I will freely admit there are so many features, I won't cover them all. Pentax actually did produce a DVD which was supplied with the camera, and if you Google it, I'm sure you'll find it available there. There are just so many features, it actually had to have this supplementary CD or DVD that explained all the camera functions, so I won't be going into those, but I'll just be covering some of these basic ones, which on the front we have our choice of focus modes: manual, continuous or single focus mode. And then on the other side of the camera we have the lens release and stop down button or preview button, and then this little cover here is for the remote control that came as an accessory. The lens is an interesting one. It's a Pentax FA, or it's often known as a power zoom. In fact, it's got power zoom written there, and that's because as we'll see when we put the lens on, we can actually focus the lens by turning this collar, this outer collar here. I don't know if you can see that. There we go. And again, there are other functions you can put into this. You can put 2 points of focus, and pressing the button on this side here allows us to choose those points. See if we can demonstrate that. There we go. I'm just pressing that button and it's going from 28 to 80. Turning to the top of the camera, it's dominated by the liquid crystal display here, and all the functions are chosen by turning the dial and rotating the main command dial on the right hand side of the camera. The various programs, some interesting names: a hyper program mode, which is basically a program mode, and we can choose from a selection that the camera will deem as appropriate exposure, or we can go program mode where we can't change anything. Aperture mode, or A mode, it's a bit confusing this, and it's interesting to see how Pentax were trying to cram in so many functions into the camera, how they implemented accessing these. Put A, you'd think it'd be aperture, but actually it's got TV, which is shutter, and indeed that will change the shutter. Press it again, or turn the dial, and we get aperture, and then the aperture gets changed by using the back dial. So a little bit confusing, but there you go. And then manual mode, we can choose shutter on the front and aperture on the back. Drive mode, continuous, or single or continuous. Self-timer, we can choose multiple exposures, intervalometer, turning the dial to the other side, we've got some audio tones whenever we press a button, and choice of ISO. There's a couple of other buttons here which I've never used, so I won't go into those, and that's true with the back here, apart from memory lock, sometimes locking in exposure, recomposing. The other button I have never used. Exposure compensation and focus point selection. So let's just put a film in the camera now. So to put the film in, we just press the little slider on the side and just put the film in. Nothing complicated. Let's just choose manual mode so that we can do something. There we go. Okay, Okay, and that's about it for the Pentax Z1 camera number 22.